Hello, everyone. My name is Amina. I am a backend engineer at Kraken Technologies. And today I want to talk about something that helped me to kickstart my own tech journey, which is self-advocacy. This talk is called pretty dramatically, "No one is coming to save you," because that's exactly what I had to learn early on in my career, that no one is going to hand you growth or recognition, and you have to build it yourself. I will share what's worked for me, the things that helped me to go from intern to engineer one, and I think most importantly, how you can apply the same tools, tips, and tricks yourself. So first, a bit more about myself. As I mentioned, my name is Amina. I'm a career changer. For the first few years of my career, I worked in marketing, and then I decided to become a software developer. And now I work at Kraken as a backend software engineer. I am also a founder of early career engineers community at Kraken. Last year, I was nominated to Black Tech Achievements Awards and Tech Chic and Power Up Awards. And recently, I've been also highlighted in the Voices in the Shadow book, volume number 5. And I'm extremely passionate about inclusion in tech, especially when it comes to women of color or other minority groups like immigrants. Yeah. So now I'm going to talk about a bit about my tech journey. My story actually starts with coding Black females. So that's a full circle moment for me speaking on this conference today. First, when I decided that I want to change my career, I was looking into coding Black into boot camps, and I encountered coding Black females. I've seen that they offer a full scholarships for one of these boot camps, which are normally pretty expensive. And I was lucky enough to receive this scholarship, and that's how my whole journey started. Then after the boot camp, it took me about 5, 6 months to find the first tech job. It was a 2-month summer internship with Kraken. So I've got that. After 2 months, I've been offered associate engineer role within the company. And after another 2 months, I've been promoted to engineer number one. And then after another 4 months, I received a pay rise. I need to highlight that my journey from intern to the last pay rise is about 9 to 10 months. So all of that happened very quickly. And I feel like none of this was luck, it was intentional. And I've learned very early on that hard work isn't enough on its own, and you have to make your impact visible and speak for yourself within the company. And that's what I will share with you today, the practical ways I learned how to do that. Um, if you are waiting for someone to notice your hard work, they probably won't. When I first started looking for advice on how to get promoted, everything I found said things like be confident, speak up more, be louder. But basically, that means act more like your male colleagues in the room. That didn't sit right with me because I'm more soft spoken, naturally introverted, and for a long time I was the only woman in my team. So instead of trying to change who I am, I figured that um, there are other ways to be visible and there are other ways to make impact that still feels authentic to my own personality. And I decided to work with it instead of against it. And that's what I mean when I say that self advocacy isn't arrogance, it's more of seeking clarity and communicating effectively. So, lesson number one is advocate early and often. A lot of people think that self advocacy is about bragging, but it's really just communication and clarity. When I first joined, I realized I couldn't really wait until promotion season, like the whole year, to start talking about growth, because essentially, talking about it gives me clarity of what exactly I have to do to get it. So I asked my manager straight away, what do you want to see from me to promote me? And that one question gave me so much direction. It turned all these vague requirements into specific goals that I need to do to get to the next step. And I also learned that I should request feedback before I really need it, not just when something went wrong or during reviews. And that helps you to redirect when you need it and again clarify what you should focus on. Another important tool is a progression framework. So usually it's a list of skills you need to possess to perform on specific level to get a promotion. And if your team or company doesn't have one, that's completely okay. And you can always ask your manager to build one with you on your one-to-ones. And I think that it shows initiative and helps them to support you in getting what you want and what you need. And even if your company has one, but it's very vague, I think it's a great idea to go through it with your manager and actually add some comments and clarify exactly how all these requirements would look like in your team. So here you can see example of very vague requirement, which is delivers high quality work. So what I would do, I will ask my manager, and what exactly does it mean? We could rewrite it in a way that it says produces code that meets requirements and passes reviews with minimal rework or major changes needed. And then I'm thinking, what are major changes? So I would make my manager to write it again with me to actually specify exactly what they want to see from me to deliver what they need to give me a promotion. These are example questions you can ask your manager. I won't go through them today as we don't have that much time, but I believe you will have access to this presentation later, so you're welcome to go through them in your own time and yeah, hopefully use them in the future. Lesson number 2 is your manager is your strategy partner. I used to see my manager as someone who decided about my fate. Now I see them more as my strategy partner. They're the person who has to make your case for a raise or a promotion to help. And for you to help them to do that, you need to ask for things that you need early. So don't wait until the review season. Use your one-to-ones to plan together and talk about your goals and progress and what's next. And as I explained it on previous slide, it's important to keep your goals measurable. So for example, if a goal you just learn backend, you should make it more specific, and it could say own the feature end to end, for example. And also, I urge you to share your wins regularly, especially on your one-to-ones with your manager. Don't assume that they know what you've done, because usually managers are busy. They have a lot of people underneath them, and you need to make it really easy for them to advocate for you. These are another example questions you can ask your manager. And lesson number 3 is how to know your worth even when you're new. When I started my first tech job, I often felt underqualified. I was the only woman in my team, only person of color, and the most junior person. Everyone around me were seniors. And I didn't think I know enough to speak up in any meetings or in stand-ups or in any discussions, really. But I learned that being valuable doesn't mean that knowing everything. You can contribute, learn, and still make an impact, even by asking questions. Sometimes a good question is as valuable in a discussion as someone else's opinion. A helpful frame for me was that men tend to apply to jobs when they're only 60% qualified. So if they can do that, that means that they take more risks. So I decided to take more risks in my career as well, and ask questions even if I think that the question might be stupid. The worst case scenario is that you can learn something new, and the best case scenario is that you can grow faster, learn more, and grow faster than you expected. The question then becomes, how do you actually gain that confidence to do that? That's the next slides that will cover tracking your impact, showing up strategically, and advocating for yourself in a way that works for you. I have this motto that if you don't track it, it didn't happen. You really need to create a page or a Notion doc where you where you note what exactly did you do for your team, what did you do outside of your team, and that not only helps you to see how much you're actually doing, but also that brings some receipts to your one-to-ones with your manager. When I first started, I did that daily because as a junior, you're learning something new every day and so many things are happening. Now I do that maybe half an hour weekly every Friday just to summarize my week and know what exactly I did. Some people rely on their GitHub PRs or maybe some documentation in Slack messages, but I wouldn't rely on that because there are many more things that you might be doing that are still contributing to your progression that are not necessarily related to coding. For example, problems you solved with your colleagues, or when you helped your teammates to unblock them with some other problems, or maybe mentoring moments when you mentored someone else even more junior than you, and all that matters. Another thing that helped me to gain confidence is building my support system and creating visibility. So I built my support system in two ways. First was finding mentors, so people who guide me, and finding peers, so people that I grow alongside with. And I think it's extremely important to look for opportunities outside of your immediate team, for example, cross-team projects, and mentors can help you with that. Also, working with peers or just meeting for a coffee chats, it's extremely important as well, because these people, especially on the same level as you are, struggle with the same things, and it's much easier to relate to them and just to vent to each other and see that you're not the only one with this kind of problems. I noticed that in Kraken, we didn't really have a community of junior engineers. So I decided to create one. It's called Early Career Engineers, and now we have almost 100 people around the world. We organize regular lunch and learn, speed mentoring sessions, and now every time I go into the office, I see familiar faces, and I feel like I actually know people and I'm visible within the company. These are example questions you can ask your mentor. And lesson number 4 is show up strategically. The 3 things that I always look out for is learning, visibility, and leadership. So one of the biggest lessons I learned is that every ticket or every project I take isn't equal in terms of impact or visibility. I choose the work that stretches my skills, but also puts me in front of the right people. So for example, here you can see 2 types of tickets. Tickets 1 is update internal configuration or local script, which is very useful for practicing, but only you or your immediate team sees it. And ticket number 2 is fix a bug or implement a feature that affects customers, and everyone notices the impact, including product managers and other teams. Obviously, my choice would be ticket number 2 in here, because then you can implement the feature, you can announce it in a Slack channel, where everyone knows your name, and you actually seem like you're doing a lot. Whereas the ticket number 1, you can spend quite a long time writing the script. Although it will make your team's life easier, it might be not seen. Especially when we're juniors, we often told what to do. So I'm aware that not often we can choose our tickets. But if I would have a choice, I would choose ticket number 2 or both, just to make myself more visible. Okay, thank you for listening today. And I do believe no one is going to save you, but that's empowering because you don't need to wait for anyone's approval, and you are in a control of your career, your visibility, and your growth. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amina. That was amazing. We do have some questions here in the question section, so I'll ask a few of them. How did you gain the courage to chart the course of your career, and how did you change your mindset to view your manager as your partner and advocator?
So the courage to change my career, I think, was motivated by I think my personality is that I love learning new things. So I didn't need the courage to actually learn, but I do need the courage to leave my previous career and start something completely new. And I think it was just believe in myself and actually finding a mentor. I decided to find a mentor pretty early on and ask them if that's even possible, because you often can read on Reddit that you should just go into tech and you're going to find a job within 3 weeks after boot camp. But that's not reality, and you need to research and actually check if it's possible for you and how to do it for it to be possible. um what was the second part of the question? Can you repeat, please?
How did you change your mindset to view your manager as your partner and advocator?
I think what changed my mindset is investigating how it actually works. Because I thought that my manager decides about everything. But after I realized that my manager actually has a boss as well, and his boss has another boss, that made me think that he actually needs to advocate for me to achieve my promotions. So that means we need to work together to make it happen. So I think just realizing the structure of corporate world and having a good relationship with him helped me to understand that.
Thank you. Unfortunately, we are out of time. There is another question from Marcia. Can you just let people know how to reach out to you directly if they want to come to you with any more questions?
Yeah, if you scan the QR code in here, there is a link to my LinkedIn. So yeah, feel free to DM me there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you everyone for joining. Thank you so much, Amina. That
Thank
was
you.
fantastic.
Great. Bye.
Bye.